Welcome, guys, to our new latest live talk. New edition, new talks, new topics. You gotta love it. And this time, we're on time. Actually, we are on time, 8 o'clock sharp. So let's do this. We got our usual panels, our stars. We got Luke. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, my man. I'm good.
Great, man. Yaderenko. Still,
Fine.
still positive, or
More positive as a lot of fans
okay,
in these
okay.
days. It's
Let's
it's
wait and
strange
see.
happening for me.
Let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. And we got our new guest panel, Ziggy.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And you, Sabi?
Yeah, I'm doing excellent. I mean, I'm
That's nice.
able to replace Juan again.
Nice to
So
hear. Yes, I heard it was
only
a
good
little
things.
struggle.
Only good things can
Only
happen.
good
Only good
things
things can
indeed.
happen. Yeah. So I mean, we all know we saw you a lot of times on the chat during our live
Indeed.
talk, and yeah,
Indeed.
I mean, we want you to come over to discuss a bit on Ajax as well. But
Of
as we
course.
always do with guest panels for the first time, it's a
Intro-
tradition, it's a
introducing.
ritual.
Introducing.
How did you
Indeed.
become an Ajax fan? Go
How I
ahead.
became an Ajax fan. Well, at first, as soon as I could start walking on my legs, at first, and when I really started to be in love with Ajax was when the old famous Amsterdam tournament came in,
Oh,
and that was the first real time I went to Ajax when they played against Arsenal, the old things, Atletico Madrid. Yeah, that's how I really became an Ajax fan. And furthermore, down the line, I went to Ajax RKC. I believe it was when Wesley Sneijder used to play still for Ajax in the semi-finals in the KNVB Beker back then. And
okay.
yeah, since then I've always been an Ajax fan. I followed you guys from the start. When Ajax used to be in here, and I'm also a regular in the chat every week now and then. I can always come have a look, follow you guys on Twitter and everywhere. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad.
Yeah, great to hear, man. Great to hear. Lovely to know that you were Ajax from basically from youth.
From the youth, yes.
You grew up basically an Ajax fan.
Yes, I grew up being
Yeah.
an Ajax fan. Always been one, a diehard one.
Great. And for the people, the Amsterdam tournament was a tournament when basically when
Yeah,
the
pre-season, I think it was.
preseason when the
Yes.
arena opened, there were
Hmm.
like tournaments with three clubs, always big clubs. You got Arsenal, I think Atletico Madrid played, and
Indeed.
Yaderenko probably knows a couple of more. But it was always fun. A lot of goals because goals counted as well
Indeed.
as a point. So it was great to see those matches indeed. So no, lovely, man. And you mentioned the Ajax. SO to Ajax, of course, we miss him, and hopefully soon he will be able to panel again with us. Now let's go basically to our topics, man, because a lot happened, a lot have been discussed. We got news that came in this week. Let's start with Borges. I think that was one of the potential major signing. It's not official yet, but rumors are that medicals have been done, and it's a matter of time before it will be officially announced. What do you think about Borges, Luke?
I can't say I've seen a lot. I've done what everyone else has done and YouTubed him or tried to find some kind of video on him. Um, he looks good. He looks very powerful runner. Likes a bit of flair in his game. Nice little dribbler. Um, but other than that, I can't say I've seen too much of him. However, I have heard the reported price is around 17 million. Around, I don't know, for
Yeah,
someone who hasn't played much for like men's football or first team football, it's a bit steep.
Mhm.
yeah. It's. I mean, it's. Of course, the price tag is everything. Is what everybody's talking about. I mean, he's a huge gem from from what we've seen. Also, compilations and so on. Unfortunately, Papimento's not here to give us more insight on those comps because he's Mr. Comps. Um, but yeah, 17 million. Yeah, Derenko, do you think this is a fair price for such a super talent?
It doesn't really matter if it's fair or not. West Ham, I believe, wanted to pay and had agreements over him, and they wanted to pay 70 million. So if you want to steal that deal, then you have to pay at least as much. And that's what happens. So you can think it's fair or not, but West Ham has, as most Premier League clubs do, loads of money, especially compared to the rest of Europe and especially to the Netherlands. So yeah, I think he's a great talent. I think it's also making sense since Daramy is probably moving towards Burnley.
We'll get that later on.
And maybe some other things will happen because they're really cleaning ship right now. So yeah, it's basically do or die.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it's a fair price because West Ham also offered the same amount, or they started with that amount. But
There
in
was
terms
already a verbal.
yeah, verb, of course, it was not signed. But if you look at it, West Ham can easily pay up that amount. I mean, they sold Rice. They're a Premier League club. They get tons of money from sponsors or from TV deals. For Ajax, it's a bit different. So of course, it's a fair price. But is it a price that let me rephrase it? If you were the technical director, would you buy Borges for 17 million?
No, I've got loads of other left wingers that I would send the scouts towards to look at. So Borges for me was a complete surprise, and I even believe that Transfermarkt updated the value of him just after the deal because they missed it totally as well. But he looks really good. And if you read the comments on the deal, most of the people from the UK say that he's an absolute gem and he's going to rock the Eredivisie. So I think they will know.
Yeah. Well, let's go to Ziggy. I don't know if you seen something from Borges, but your view on him.
Yes, I did exactly. Well, it was yesterday or the day before when he got announced by Fabrizio Romano. I was scrolling through Twitter and I seen some rumors about Ziyech. I even seen Weghorst in the shirt, and then Borges came. Boom, he was there, and I was like, okay, Borges. I was like, who is it? And I had a look at him on YouTube, like Luke mentioned. And then I seen the fee, and I was honestly a little bit shocked in the position where we are in now with Ajax, where defenders is our main priority. Then I seen he was a left winger, and I was thinking about myself, okay, maybe he could play both sides because we have Berghuis at the left side. But from what I've seen on the videos, based on all that, it looks good. But I'm really wondering how strong is this league in comparable to the Eredivisie and also in the bigger games, what we're going to play against the PSVs, the Feyenoords, the Europa League games. How is this going to look for us with him? This is mainly for me the main question. I'm sure he could play good against the Volendam and RKC and everything, but how is he going to be in the big games? Yeah. This is for me one of the things that I'm thinking. And it's a big fee. It's not a small fee. 20 million is pretty big, if I would say.
Yeah, I mean, 20 million is quite big. And we need to take into account, of course, there is a buyback clause and a sell-on clause, which is, of course, not a real advantage for Ajax. But apparently the scout, because it came from the head scout of Ajax, who used to work for City, and he like literally mentioned went to Sven, stating, "This is the guy that we need. This is the one." And based on that, it went through. And from information that I sought, I seen that City often do these kind of deals, selling players for a huge amount. So this is not like an incident, for a huge amount, and including a buy and a sell-on buyback clause, and a sell-on clause. The same applied for Lava, who went to Southampton, and now after one season, hugely being followed by Liverpool and Manchester United. So and Jadon Sancho went from City to Dortmund for a huge amount as well. Never played for the first team, so it might be something good. but we just have to wait, right?
Yeah, Sabi. Sorry, I think we just have to look at, even if it's for 1 year where Ajax use it, get back in the Champions League, and then he goes back and he sells. I think the money you get back from the Champions League and being stable again,
100%.
challenger for the title, I think is more valuable than if they just went back and had a buyback clause. You know,
Mm.
but also City have spent a long time building something with Pep with their youth academies and stuff. So I think we can be confident that players that have been seen by a former head scout and things like that, you know, they are going to be good, and I think he will be good for us.
Yeah.
Mm.
But then a question for Ziggy
Mm.
on this. If it's official, where do you see him play? Because he can play multiple positions: left wing, right wing, strike positions, even. Where do you see him play
If
if
I
you were like Stein?
if I have to choose, I will definitely put him at the right side. I mean, Bergwijn has cost us a bomb as well, and I don't see Bergwijn as, for me, as a striker. So it will definitely be at the right side for me. I mean, I don't see Bergwijn switching positions or putting him at the left. No, I will definitely think he's being taken as a right winger for me. That's why what I think. Maybe it's incalculated that Kudus will leave in the main future. It's also a possibility that maybe it's a calculation. Kudus will
Good one.
go. He will go at the right wing. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
We have to see and wait. I just hope that because I've seen some tweets coming out that he will be maybe presented at the open day of Ajax. I just hope that he will be presented as soon as possible, so we maybe can see like 20 or 30 minutes against Dortmund. It will be already great to see him, have a little glimpse of him.
Okay. Do you agree with that, guys? Jadrenko, Luke? Do you see him playing in that position, or do you consider him more as a competitor to Bergwijn, for example?
I think I think he might play as a 10. I think you've got Götze and Koshensel on the right. I think Götze looked really, really good on the right in the friendlies when he played there. And maybe putting another player there might be too many players on one side unless they plan on using Götze on the left. But he's it looks like a bit like Kudus with the ball when he runs with it. Quite a powerful runner, and I think as a 10, he could be really good. But we'll have to wait and see.
That's quite. I never thought about him playing as a 10. It didn't pop my mind. But and you, Jadrenko, do you have a specific position where you think he can like create things for us?
From the little things I have seen from the preseason games, I'm thinking and I'm hoping he will play as a left winger, and Götze will play as a right winger.
And then you expect Bergwijn to be benched.
I'm crossing my fingers that he leaves for the 1st of September. So
Okay. It's
no, but it would be
Interesting.
to be honest, to be quite honest, that would be really logical to exit Bergwijn, to exit Berghuis, because those are the high earners, and they want to do two things, and one of those things was getting
lowering the
down with
salary.
the salary cap.
Yeah.
So to me, that would make sense if they do that, because I don't see Bergwijn sitting on the bench with a happy face.
Yeah.
And if he's competing against Borges, I think in 2-3 games he will bench. I think he cannot compete with Borges at all, because Bergwijn is a one-trick pony and not a very good one in my perspective. And it seems that Borges has it all.
And he actually goes deep.
Yeah, he goes deep. He can shoot. He can tap in. He can pass after a sprint.
Yeah.
It quite makes some impression in small things I have seen. So I'm very curious to see him in action.
Yeah, if you look at the price tag, I mean, we can all assume that it will be for a starting position. Otherwise, you wouldn't put so much effort and so much funds in one player. But it's interesting to see. Let me check what the viewers find of this player. I got Ajax head coach Stan himself. He won the league 4 times in a row and was top scorer last season. Seems like a fair price to me. If you look at it, yeah, definitely he was chosen best player last season if I recall it correctly. I see Rita Sahi, but I won't mention that. What the happened to the scouts? We used to buy a player for €1 and sell it for 18, and now we can only buy players for 15 till 35, between 15 and 35. Like, can we buy a gem for 6 million or defense for 3 till 10 millions? What do you think of that, Ziggy?
I think in the market nowadays, to buy a player for 3 to 10 million, you have to be really lucky, if I'm honest, especially if you have to buy quality. Let's say if you want to buy quality, you have to pay these days. Look at West Ham, for example. They just spent those 17 million, as you just mentioned. But for Ajax, the 20 million is a big price. For West Ham, it's 70 million. If the player doesn't succeed, for them, it's 17 million. For us, if let's say he doesn't succeed, how will people react? The pressure will be on Sven.
100%. Yeah, that's true. It's a difficult situation. The market is very difficult to view. Let me look at. Let me see the comments from Roy van Hensbergen. I'm really, it's happening. Those incoming transfer, probably happy. But how is it possible all of a sudden we can spend so much money now and not even top-rated players? Do you guys agree with it, or do you get like an answer for this question?
I think
Luc?
top rated players. Everyone wants a top rated player, but people have to be realistic about where we are. Not the top players do not want to go to the Eredivisie if they're top players in like the Premier League, for example, or France, because there's the money's not there. That's one thing, and the competition. These leagues are more competitive. The Premier League is the most competitive in the world. So these top players that people are asking for, sometimes are unattainable. But doesn't mean you can't get good players that will fit the system.
That's true.
They don't have to be top players. And then another thing is that you can go and buy these players for 1 or 3 million euros from Denmark, for example, but then those are risks, aren't they? Just like this one from England is, but unfortunately, English players or players in England, these clubs don't need the money, so they can charge whatever they want. But a Danish club might need 3 million euro to help improve their squad, so then they'll might accept that one. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, you can't get every top player, So
yeah, okay. Well, then we'll just have to wait and see. Now, one of the last comments, like I said, I see Borges transfer comparing as a Bellingham transfer from Birmingham to Borussia Dortmund. Can be indeed a comparison, although Bellingham did play for Birmingham, the first team, if I recall correctly, and then went to Dortmund. But it's comparable if you look at the age and the type of and the fact that they're both gems. And yeah, I mean, I need to bring this up, man. 60 watching and less than 20 likes. Come on, people. So listen a bit to Mike and hit those likes, and we move on. Okay, let's move on to the second topic, and it's also, of course, transfer related. We got the news today that goalkeeper Ramaj, is coming to Ajax, coming from Eintracht Frankfurt. 8 million fixed and 2 million add-ons as a bonus. It's quite odd transfer if you look at the priorities. But Yaidarenko, what's your thought when you saw this news? I mean, there were already rumors, but when it was official, what was your first thought?
I actually don't get this one. If you look at what they did with Borges, look at Chelsea. There's a talented keeper called, I believe, Gabriel Slonina. He's not coming into the first team. He's too young, and Kepa is playing everything. And now he's going to be loaned to, I believe, Cercle Brugge or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, I think I would have gone for a keeper like that with a buy clause, a buy option. And I really think the comment from Sven was strange, that he said he's the number 2 or 3 behind all the keepers in Germany. So he's not 1, 2, or 3 of Germany. No, he's behind that, and not of the world, no, of Germany. So yeah, I don't know what that says about that guy. I really don't know. I saw a compilation where he did some things in the goal, what you expect from a goalkeeper. But I really don't know if he's good or if he's not good. I think it's quite steep, 8 million.
Exactly my question for Ziggy. I mean, we're gonna pay 8 million
8
for
million.
a second goalkeeper, maybe even third. We don't even know. Is this? I mean, last week we had the. No, on Monday we had the extra talk on the finances,
I've seen this.
and there were discussions, and of course they said there's still funds available, but when you look at the positions that we really need to have filled, need to be filled,
Mm.
you pay 8 million, let's say 10 million for a second goalie. Did it pop your mind? Was it something that you like? Tell me, man, what's your feeling about that?
Well, when I seen this, I was quite surprised, especially after I seen the video of him, because what I first noticed about him and seeing the videos is that the ball bounces out of his hands a lot. I've seen
Okay,
this for
I haven't
for a
seen it.
keeper for a keeper who you paid 8 million for, maybe 10, or with the salon or with the bonuses on top of it. I think it's a lot of money. We don't exactly know what's going to happen with Ruli just yet. I think there's also some things going on there. But 8 million for this keeper, we might talk different in a year's time. I find it a lot of money. I've seen somewhere down the lines that they were looking for Nikolai as well last week, which I rather should buy than this guy for less money, because I think right now we have other priorities than spend such high amount for a keeper from Germany who's only played one game last season. Um,
Yeah,
he only played one game, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, one game last
Yeah.
season and one game the season before, so he only
So
has 2 games, and he's worth more than 8 million.
so now it's already 28 million down the drain.
Yeah, and if you look at the transfer market, I mean, we saw during the extra talk that transfermarket.nl
Mm.
or .com doesn't show the real value, or what the actual value is, what the transfer result is. But for him, it was like a couple of 100,000
Yes,
euros,
I've seen that too. Indeed, yes.
and we're not even talking about more than 1 million. So look, looking at this, hearing this, reading this, do you think there's like a hidden agenda with regards to Ruli maybe leaving us? Because we heard the rumors that he couldn't, yeah, Netherlands doesn't really suit him, and he really misses Spain and so on, probably the weather and the culture. Is this maybe like a step that has been taken by Sven to to make sure that if Ruli leaves, we got a replacement?
Really needs to learn how to catch a ball first before he talks about not fitting in the Netherlands, not punching the ball into his own goal. And two, I don't. How old is this goalkeeper from Frankfurt? 20,
21, I believe.
21.
21. I don't think you sign a 21 goalkeeper that's played one game or 2 games, to replace Rulli. Yeah. I think Horta is probably on the way out, because I think there was rumors that he was talking to Stein a little bit, and they wasn't really agreeing on some things, maybe.
Yeah.
But also I feel like sometimes Mislintat maybe have some kind of like thing where he might agree a deal for someone to keep relationships good with clubs. We'll buy this player. Sometimes politics comes in the way, because if you look at goalkeepers, a modern goalkeeper needs to be good with his feet. Now there's 2 German goalkeepers that can play with their feet that I know of really, really well. Ter Stegen and Neuer could be a different level, but then there's not like a goalkeeper that's never played one game I've not seen anything with him passing the ball, nothing with him being able to play progressive passes, etc., etc. It's really it's a strange one. I agree with Yadarenko, but I think it's more Horta leaving than Rulli, because unless Horta then becomes number one, but I don't think he's ready. I'm not so sure.
No, but I mean, if you look at it, you just mentioned indeed Gorter. If you like see this, like you see Ajax buying a player for 8 million. What do you think of your position? I mean, there are rumors that stating that he would be loaned out, but for what reason? For what reason do you want to get loaned out if you see a player coming in for 8 million?
If I'm Horta and I'm getting loaned out again, I would leave. I would leave. If your future's not there, even if it's okay, you can be on the bench now and you can play some games, you could play Becher games, anything. I think you have to move on for your career as a football player. Personally, if that was me, I don't know. It's a really random transfer, isn't it? So
yeah, indeed. But in other words, do you consider Gorter a future number one for Ajax on the short term? So after the season, for example.
No.
And you, Jadrenko?
No.
Yeah, you probably you're for the Setford and so on. I know you that well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ziggy, do you consider Gorter an Ajax goalie in the near future as our number one?
In the near future, no, but might on the later stage, yes. I just think it will be a battle between them two this season, between this Ramaj and Gorter.
Okay.
Between them two, I think it will be a battle.
Yeah,
for number two.
Gorter's probably is 23, right? If I recall correctly. I'm not sure.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it's an age where you want to play. You want to play regularly, but it's to be continued. It remains an odd transfer, especially with that amount. And he's, by the way, really happy with this transfer. He even played with Ajax on the PlayStation, although others play with Real Madrid, Barcelona. He plays with Ajax. So I don't know whether it's true or not, but. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see and look and see whether he gets some minutes at Ajax. And okay, let's move on. Well, let me see first if we can see some comments on maybe somebody knows a bit more about Ramaj. Well, I got an opinion from Roy van Hensberger. Why 8 million for a second goalkeeper behind Rulli and not get Nick Olij from Sparta, who Stein knows very well? It's only 3 to 4 million, because there were indeed discussions, rumors about Olij coming to Ajax.
But Sparta rejected that bid.
They rejected that bid.
Yeah,
So it's more.
Yeah.
So it's more.
But apparently they find Ramaj better than Nick Olij, although Nick Olij played so many games on the highest level in the Netherlands, and Ramaj is 8 million plus and didn't play a senior game. That's basically the thing. Yeah, it's difficult. They probably see things that we haven't seen or still need to see, and it's important to know how this will develop. This sounds interesting. Damaj, probably Ramaj from Jamie Brinkhuizen, can be a Ter Stegen Rega. No, I don't know exactly what that means, but
Region.
Okay,
He's trying to use Football Manager and FIFA and things like that. You know, when a new player gets created and brand new.
Okay, cool. My bad. Okay, let's wait and see, man. Okay, let's go to our next topic, also transfer related, but related to other names which are not yet announced or only under discussion, rumors, and so on. I'm talking about Hiroki Ito, who plays for Stuttgart, defender, left center back, also a left back under a 3-man defense when they play. Ian Matzo, player it's a Dutch player playing for Chelsea. There's a second, of course, Hakim Ziyech, also rumors. I'm not sure whether it's true or not, but still rumors. Anton Gaai, it's a right back playing in Denmark. Spertian, of course, that's known. And Yassine Adli, who plays for AC Milan. It's an attacking midfielder. From all these names that I just mentioned, who do you think would fit best, or should be the priority? That's one. And which one do you think will happen to come over to Ajax? I give it to you, Jadrenko.
I think a totally different name will come over to Ajax, and that's Josip Satulo.
Well, that Satulo, I kept that out on
And
purpose because we discussed this
okay.
indeed. But you can mention that indeed. I mean, it's your opinion. I didn't mention it. Was that my question?
No, but they're really close. They bid
No.
23 million, so I think it's going to fall
Yeah.
within the coming 24 hours or something like that. I think Ian Maatsen could fit well on the left back. I don't understand the Ito transfer. I don't understand it because he's quite expensive in my view. Guy, I don't know. I really don't know if that's a fit or not. That's hard for me. And same goes for the AC Milan guy. I don't know if that's a fit. I see too few images of him where I really can see something like I saw with Borges. So it's hard for me to judge.
And Spertian still played. You think will come, or is that probably now?
What you read and what you hear on that X app is
I still
that
call it Twitter. Sorry, I still call it Twitter.
yeah, okay, fine, Tweety, is that that Ajax will move for him and will get him, and if they get Spertian, I think that's quite okay. Then you can let Kudus go without a problem. I think you can let Berghuis go without a problem because he really seems to fit in the gameplay that Van der Bomen tries to play, that Tahirovic tries to play, that Hato tries to play. So it makes kind of sense if they get Spertian.
Yeah. And what do you think, Ziggy, from all these players? Do you have a
Yeah.
favorite? Do you have a favorite?
From all the players who you named, I
Yeah.
think personally for me, if Hakim would come back, that would be for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
baby.
of course, that would be the great thing. But
But he
I don't
won't.
think.
He won't.
No, I don't think it will happen. I think it's just loose rumors, and I think the end of the time it will go to Saudi Arabia or something like that. And I think really about this Ito guy and Maatsen, I think it's an if I'm honest. I think, for example, if this Ito comes from Stuttgart, it might be a possibility that he moves Hato to the left back position and plays Ito at centre back alongside if Soutalo comes. If there's also if he comes, then he will play alongside him. Of course, I like Hato and I rate Hato as a centre back. This is out of question, but he's very young. He will definitely get a dip at some time, a youth dip, because he's only 17, not to forget. I mean, people say, yes, he's great and all this, but so many upcoming games next season, so many important games are coming next season. So it's really hard to say if he will be up to that level all season long. So it will be really great to get at least 2 centre backs for me. This is main priority. So if it's going to be this Ito guy, let him come. And Soutalo, everyone will love to see him in the next coming days as an Ajax player. And Spertian, I think it's a real gray area right now, if I'm honest, because you see very mixed feelings everywhere. They are still talking about this Russia conflict. And for me, politics and football doesn't go alongside. It should bring people together for me. If he comes, I would love to see it, but it really depends as well on the price, I reckon. I mean, Ajax don't have 50 or 60 million to spend more, right?
No, it's 12. It's
12. Yeah, but you have to buy Soutalo. You want to buy a Maatsen. You want to buy... so it's going to cost a bit. It's not going to be for free, of course.
True.
Yeah. And for you, Luke, Maatsen or Ito?
I'm quite interested in this right back, to be honest, from Denmark.
Okay.
So while I've tried to look at a little bit on YouTube, you can find some Danish highlights of some of the matches for some of the teams, but he likes to cross the ball and his crosses are very accurate. He's always looking forward. He's always looking forward to play a forward pass, not just pass backwards. And I think, the right side, obviously Sanchez and Wrench's weaknesses sometimes at the final ball. Sometimes they get to that position and they lose it or something like that. Maatsen at Chelsea with the new manager and Pochettino, he likes playing young players. I don't see him leaving, and unless they loan him out or something like that, or like a big 20 million bid like Ajax have done for that Man City player. And for Ito, I wouldn't mind him coming if he was relatively cheap, because left-footed centre back, quite important, and especially if you get Sutalo as well. That's Hato, that's Ito. It sounds funny, and then you have Sutalo, and then you can. There's some good rotation options there, and Spezia, I would be happy with, but Ziyech, no, I think his wages would be too much.
Yeah. If you think about it, go ahead. Yeah, there you go.
One name in the comments, which is quite interesting to me, is Alvaro Fernandez from United, who's a talented back, who's not going to play in the first team. So that could also be a nice one.
Can be an interesting one. Well,
Sorry?
Alvaro Fernandez, Spanish guy.
I've heard.
Can be an interesting one. But as you said, it might be. I think it will be indeed between. I mean, Matze will probably not come. He's having an excellent preseason, and Pochettino loves to play with the young players, and there's huge interest in the Premier League for him as well. So I don't think he will take that decision to come to Ajax. So Ito would be more of the logical decision. Then you get Hato, Ito, indeed, Sutalo, and we don't have any Rencho, so we need to have a new right back maybe. But okay, no, but I mean, it's gonna be difficult. But that's basically our priority, and the focus is now on Sutalo. So and
they're targeting the right areas. I think now we're finally highlighted what we need. And for example, this Danish right back, this is the kind of player that could cost 2 to 3 million euro, for example, like the last comment, because you're making a step up from another league and they might need the money in Denmark, because 3 million euro is a lot to put back into their youth academies and their youth investment and things like that. So that's the kind of cheap deal you can get, or I say cheap, but small money deal,
Indeed, I mean there's more profit to be made if you think about future transfers. So that's absolutely correct. And I see, of course, a lot of comments on Bonucci. There are rumors that he has been offered to Ajax, and I don't know the real story about it, but that Ajax declined or something. Maybe do you guys know something about it?
I've seen the news, but I don't know about any.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, then probably it's you should take it with a pinch of salt. But what about if it popped up in my mind, Dest? I'm not saying I'm a fan or not a fan, but apparently Dest's contract will be terminated, which makes him a free agent. Do you consider? I mean, I'm not saying he will come or he wants to come, but would you consider Dest coming back, taking him back, Jadrenko?
No.
With them and you, Ziggy?
Very, very hard one. I will choose him over that guy. That for definitely. I just don't see it with this guy. I don't know what's so special about him.
Okay. And for you, Luke?
Instead of Sanchez, yes, but otherwise, no.
Yeah, of course. It should always be instead of, because we need to get rid of.
Can I ask you, Luke, why would you go for Dest over Sanchez if you can also do Goyer or Sarvo? I know that's not ideal, but if you have a lot of good players around them, then you at least don't up your salary cap again, because Dest is not gonna. He might become on a free agent, but he's not going to be going to have a low salary.
No, isn't it?
That's
But
true.
you look at Sanchez, and for me, he's not good defensively or forward attacking. At least Des can offer something going forward. He's a bit more like a wing back than a full back. If the wages were cheap, yeah, but you get rid of Sanchez, his wages, and if he has a little bit less, then you're making some back on the wages. But no, I agree. I'm always a firm believer in giving you the chance anyway. So get rid of Wrench, get rid of Sanchez, and then bring Hute Young up, and everyone's happy. Yeah?
Got a comment from the Vagebond. According to Isaac Ante Susic, Zagreb's asking between 25 and 30 million for Sutalo. How do you guys think about such a huge amount of fee? Ziggy, is that something can you answer?
I
Or
mean,
what's
that's
your
our
thought?
yes, yeah, no, that's our priority right now. I mean, getting a central defender, and we've been longer in the market for Sutalo, and I believe I'd seen some fee for 18 million plus 3 million in bonuses. So if they ask 25 million, just pay up. We really need a right central defender right now. We have no other choice than doing so, because in 2 weeks' time, I'm sure we will play the Europa League playoffs, and yes, they're coming important upcoming weeks. So we definitely need some improvements there on that side. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah. No, okay. Fair enough. And then we got from Danik Caravel, welcome. We need Valentin Barco.
Top talent.
Top talent. Tell me a bit about him, Jadirenko, for the viewers.
I believe he's from Argentina, and he's he's still in Argentina, which is a bit of amazing. I believe Transfermarkt valued him on 3 million, something like that. But he's a modern left back, and he would be right on the top of my list, to be quite honest.
And he's
Yeah.
he's no international, or maybe
I,
of
I,
the
I,
youth
I
squad.
don't know. I don't know,
Okay,
to be honest.
okay. Yeah, I mean it's if it would be still, I don't know his price tag. Do you have any information about this guy?
That's always tricky in not too tricky in Argentina, because they are really reasonable with their release clauses normally, whilst in Brazil they have sky high release clauses, and
Yeah.
then you can negotiate a bit lower, but then you're really paying good money for it. But I think if you want to pay 10 to 15 million for a left back for Ito, I think with 5 to 10 million, say 8 million, you would
Affordable.
get Marco.
I
If you don't have any competition from the big clubs, by the way.
The Brazilian release courses are only really high because they know Real Madrid will come and try to buy them anyway. So they just
Yeah.
beat them out to 100 million euro, and Real Madrid
Yeah,
are like,
and-
yeah, okay.
And you see what they did with Endrick. He
Yeah.
had a release clause of 60 million,
Yeah,
and they
Yeah.
only paid 35 in the end.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean,
which
yeah,
which is still steep for a 16-year-old boy, but
yeah, that's true. But that's football nowadays, eh? The market.
means Hato is worth 100 million euro then in that
Yeah.
case, isn't
yeah.
2 years time.
it?
Okay. Well, we can close the topic by the last comment, Max Panzerfagen. Okay. Hope I pronounced it well. To be fair, I think Rensch played really good against Shakhtar, and I could see him popping off this season. This is Mr. Positive. Max is positive. Do you agree with Max? I will call him Max. I see Luke already nodding no. Jadarenko, it's a no probably.
No,
I
no,
can-
no.
Yeah. Ziggy, is it? Do you rate him good enough to give him a chance? Well, to see him do well this season.
I will
Or-
definitely let Wrench still play on that right back position, because might in a couple of years he have some value to him. He was still like nominated for the Golden Boy Award, if I'm not mistaken. So big clubs are still be looking. He was still in that list, so big clubs will still look him in at some sense. So you might be able to sell him in a couple of years for 25 million, 20 million. I will give him another season, definitely. Let's see how he goes with his injuries, because he's an injury prone, of course. He always has something. But let's see if he this season if he's willing to shine, because I'm sure that he has something in him what he can show us. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sabi, can I ask you a question? Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll ask you a question. Would you keep Wrench as a backup centre half on the right side, and if we brought in a Lou right back, considering he played there before? So if we have Sutalo and then we have Hato, and
Yeah.
then he was a backup bench player.
Yeah, in my view, I would try that. I would try that. I've seen him always as a more of a center back than a real right back. In the youth, he often usually played in the center. He's right-footed, left-footed, so I think he can play, but he needs to toughen up. You know, he's waiting too much. He needs to be like Licha. The way he defends, he doesn't give space to the attacker, and that's something that he needs to learn. But he can be a backup, but for now, he wouldn't be my starter. Not on the right back and not in the center. So it's give him a chance, okay? But he needs to prove himself. So he would not be a starter to start with.
Don't
So
you think he had a good? Don't you think he had a good preseason? Like against Shakhtar, he was all right. Against Anderlecht, I mean, he put in a lot of energy in the games. I thought so. A lot of energy. He was constantly overlapping.
He has his qualities attacking wise, the energy as you mentioned, but defensive wise, he still lacks a bit, and you can see his aggressiveness is started to come up, but he used that by injuring players instead of going for the ball. So he's a bit of a madman lately, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. That's why I'm saying no need to sell, but I would opt for him to prove himself. So not starting as a starter, being right back or center, but like prove himself and get another defender and see how this develops.
I think he's made a few mistakes in preseason as well. No, they didn't
Yeah.
get the ball that cost a couple of goals, 1 or 2. I think so.
That's
You
the
know,
problem with
he can have the
Rensma.
energy, but no output.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
mostly the problem, I think, that when he makes a mistake, even if he plays okay, the mistake always costs a goal.
That's true, and that's why we keep on picking on him because the mistake is basically what Harry Maguire is for United. Making
No,
mistakes.
Not so bad.
But, I mean, I'm trying to take that to a next level. I mean, but Harry Maguire is making mistakes, but those mistakes often results in a goal. And
Harry Maguire is terrible.
yeah, of course. I'm just trying to be more lenient on this. But hey, let's move on, man. We've got still the stuff to discuss. There's that Berghuis interview of last week. I think it was with AT5, where he basically told the interviewer basically the same as what Tadic said, that he worries in terms of quality, that it's quite bad, and that the fans shouldn't expect us winning every game as they used to in the past. So he's it's like a wake up call and bringing us back to reality. I don't know whether you've seen that interview, but Ziggy, what was your thought when you saw that interview? Do you think he is allowed to say these things? Did he earn his stripes to say those things, or do you think no, you had a terrible second half of the season, you shouldn't talk like this, and so on and so on?
Well, he was Berghuis is an experienced player of our squad. Like let's say the last half of the season, last season he was terrible. For me, it might be just to work his way out. That's like my feeling a little bit with the way how he's speaking. Maybe he just want to follow Tadic to watch Turkey or whatever. If he stays, for me, he is the one who really has to show up, because I know Jaidarenko, for example, loves the youth players, but we also need some experienced players. So he will definitely be one of them to show up, because I don't believe in Klaassen, if I'm honest, anymore. So let's say Berghuis will be one of the guys who have to show up next season if he stays. But I don't think that Ajax was happy with his interview he gave him, if I'm honest. I don't think they were really happy with it.
Yeah, but do you consider him a starter in your view in starting 11?
Right now, with the team what we have right now, without any buys, yes, I think so. Right now, but if on 8, then I'm on the midfield, then not on the right wing or whatever, but just on the midfield. If we buy another player, like let's say Spetjon will come, for example, then no. No.
It's quite interesting because who do you consider? Where do you consider Branco if you put Berghuis on the 8?
For me personally, I just don't think that Taylor will be my starting 11. To be honest,
But
I
then,
don't
okay,
see. Yeah,
let me
so it will
rephrase.
be like yes.
Who would be your 3? Who would be your 3-man midfield
Right now,
right now?
it will be probably Berghuis, Branco, and behind it maybe Tahirovic or Vos, one of them two.
Okay.
Yes, one of them two. I mean, I don't think Alvarez will stay. Maybe he would, but I think it will be Vos, Tahirovic, Vos or Tahirovic, and in front of it Branco and Berghuis. I think so.
Okay.
Lovely, the
Okay.
diamond.
Yes.
Yeah. Diamond. Yeah. 4-4-2, you mean? Diamond
No,
4-4-2?
no, no, no. I
No, no,
mean
no.
three. No. I mean three
He
midfielders.
means the with the 6 position. So
Yeah,
you
with the 6
play with the
position indeed.
diamond,
Yes.
Yeah, like
not with a 10, but with a
yeah,
6.
okay. You mean with one
Like
pivot
yeah,
and
like we used to do
2
with
8.
Schöne
Exactly.
back in
Yeah.
the days.
Exactly.
Yeah. Basically with the Johan Cruyff plays.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Luke, your thought about Berghuis? I don't know whether you've seen that interview because it was in Dutch, I think.
I'm learning.
You're learning. Okay, yeah.
Google Translate.
You should. You should. You're half Dutch, by the way, now.
Ik heb geen honger. Yeah.
Good.
With Berghuis, it's quite difficult. He's one of my favorites. I always liked when he played as an 8 at the start of last season. I thought he was very, very good when Schroeder was around. And prior to that, when he played as a 10, with Ten Hag sometimes. But I agree with Ziggy. It sounds like he's trying to make excuses for him to be able to leave. I hope not, because I'd hope he'd have a better attitude towards it. But you can't. I don't think you can say these things out in public with the fans because we're Ajax. We should win every game anyway, regardless. But you can't just say, like, when you're a coach, you can't go to your players and say we shouldn't expect to win today. You want to be able to make everyone believe and say we're going to win. We want to win all the time because you should. But you don't say these things out. So I'm quite disappointed in that perspective. I think he's just trying to. I think he might be trying to leave. Sadly, so
Okay.
because he brought up in the interview, didn't he? He said, "I was brought here to play with, with Ziyech, with Mazraoui, with Lisha, everyone like that."
No,
So
indeed.
he's basically saying, "Now what?" So I think he's just trying to make excuses to leave. Maybe. So I agree with
Yeah.
Ziggy.
Do you? I have a question for Luke. Maybe. Do you think that Berghuis, as the player he is, as the character he is, do you think he matches with Stein? Do you guys think they will? This is a good match between them two.
No, I don't think Stein. It seems to me he wants players that are going to put everything on the line and Sabi, you were talking about Martinez, the way he defended with his body in the line, never gave space to anyone, and I think he wants the same. You see Hato in the friendly every time in some of the friendlies, every time the opponents went forward, he was always there, last one, putting his body on the line, making last minute tackles. I think he wants that from everyone. Hence why I think that he's still trying with Klaassen, because although Klaassen may lack the technical ability and etc., now he will always put 100% in, and he'll always try his hardest because he loves the club. And I think that's where the kind of character is going with. Berghuis, I think maybe lacks as he gets older as well, because I think he's 31, 32, maybe that age.
He's over 30 indeed.
So he's getting towards the twilight now of his career, like towards the end of it. So maybe he hasn't got the same running power in his legs or something that he had before. I'm not so sure. Hence why it doesn't work when he plays on the right wing or the left wing. I don't think. I think what you see with Branko and Tahirovic, I think it is exactly what Stein wants, and I don't see like Taylor will always work really, really hard. So he'd always be around the team as a 10 or something, because I think he could be a good 10. I think there'll be better 10s, but I think he could be a good rotational 10. I think he wants hard-working players. I don't think Berghuis fits that system. And I think he knows that as he's followed Tadic. So he's trying to, I think.
Yeah. Now, I was a bit more surprised that he downgraded our current team. Like when he compared the team with, it's
Obviously, it's
for
not going to
me,
be the same.
it's a lack of
obviously, yeah.
respect. For me, it's a lack
Yeah.
of respect towards your own colleagues.
Mm.
But so that was odd for me. But what about you, Yadrenko? I know you're not the biggest Berghuis fan, but do you consider him a player? And you already mentioned, of course, at the start, like let the senior players go. We start from fresh. You consider Berghuis one of the players that should leave.
Yeah, he was one of the, I think, least terrible last season. He's one of the guys that sometimes showed something, but still, if you show so less in a whole season, you cannot complain, and especially after what was said from Sven on how they are approaching the current transfer window. Why are you doing an interview like that? It's there can only be one reason, and that's try to stir something up to leave the club. Then go. If you want to leave, go. Move out, pack your stuff, and go away. If you don't like Ajax, fine. We'll find someone else who does want to play for Ajax.
Yeah.
That's a
Makes
question
sense.
though, because he's from obviously with his links with Feyenoord. Has he always wanted the best for Ajax? Do you think, or do you think right now he's showing his Feyenoord colours and he's a bit like?
Nah.
No, I think
don't
I think he realizes that he has some trouble stepping up if the team is not performing, and now new people are coming in, and I think he's just afraid that he will bench, which he's right in.
And not only that, in my view, what I think is for him it was a reality check when Tadic left. It made him think,
Yeah.
I'm also 30 years and older.
He's not
We're
safe.
having less quality in our squad,
Exactly.
and I want to win prizes. I want to win
And see
something.
how fast it went with Tadic, because
Yeah.
Tadic went to Sven, and Sven said, "You don't like it? Go."
Yeah.
Indeed, it was quite easy. So for me, it's more or less I want to win prizes. I don't see
Yeah.
me winning prizes with this team. Look at Tadic, and then that's why he mentioned the previous players, Mazraoui, Tadic, and so on, because you can't compare those players with the current players, and he doesn't want to build up because that would take him years of his own career.
Is he?
That's my view,
injured?
but I might be wrong.
Is he injured?
He was injured, but he's. I think he's now able to train in full with the squad.
So he hasn't played. So he hasn't been in preseason, but it's because he's been actually injured.
No, he was injured in preseason.
Mhm.
He played the first game, I think, against Den Bosch, and then he was injured playing.
On his ankle or not?
Well, there we go, because I don't remember him playing. So
No, he didn't play.
there we go. You don't even notice when he does or not, because little impact now, doesn't it?
Let's
Sadly.
go to the comments. Nickname 123 321. Berghuis is just harming our position in negotiations with other clubs by saying this. He should have been one of the guys to step up after Tadic's departure. 100%. Nothing to add on, unless you guys want to bring in something to this.
I agree.
No.
Yeah, totally. Let me see if. A previous comment, of course, related to the transfers. Barca paid 61 million total for Victor Roque, so I agree with the huge prices in Brazil. Yeah, it's skyrocketing. It's the market, unfortunately.
They all think they're going to get the next Vinicius every time, isn't it? So
yeah, that's what they think indeed. And of course, about Berghuis, he's passionate. From Jamie Brinkhauser, he's passionate and has spirit, but is very reckless as well. We saw that during the last.
It took a while.
It took a while to show his true self, right? The Feyenoord thing that he.
Because I remember at Feyenoord, he when it didn't work out, he got a red card.
Yeah, at Heerenveen, I think so. It was in.
Yeah, but multiple times.
Yeah.
Or almost yellow cards that you would have said from, okay, this is dark yellow or orange.
Yeah. No, it's true. Sven serves Tsunami. Berghuis is Berghuis, emotional, passionate, honest, and at least has the balls to come over from 0-10. 010 means Feyenoord because it's the code zip code of so that's you call it, that's why you call it,
That's
right?
it.
Telephone code. The
Yeah,
area
I
code.
agree.
area
I
code, area
agree.
code. So all respect. No, indeed, it's of course
Hmm.
respect to that.
Didn't they have
but
when they were the Classica? Didn't they have like a big thing that had like a signature saying about like death or something like that, and they had his name
oh,
and they
it
like
was more
pretend to
than that.
sign it or
Yeah,
something like that.
it
That
was
was one
more than that.
example. Sorry,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah,
said
yeah.
it quite rough,
He
isn't
took,
it? So
yeah, he took a lot of heat
mm,
by coming to Amsterdam, and yeah, it shows balls, and he came for literally one thing: to win prizes, because he couldn't see winning prizes at Feyenoord, and now he has the same
yeah, he
idea.
won
I
them.
mean, he wants to win prizes, and he can't see that at Ajax probably. So maybe it's a more of a hint to move further. But hey, we'll see. Let's move on because there are some small topics to discuss. Let's keep it short about Sneijder. Sneijder's apology. We saw, I think it was yesterday, Sneijder um, invited or asked the F side. That's our hardcore. That's one of those hardcore fans.
The
Um,
ultras.
the
The
ultras
ultras, yeah.
indeed
Yeah.
of Ajax. The ultras were not happy with Sneijder being mentioned as as one of the people that can be included in technical staff of Stein. So once his name popped up, there was like a storm of critics mentioning that he won't be allowed to come, and it's Ajax is not his home, and so on and so on, because he's told bad things about Ajax, and he favors Utrecht, FC Utrecht, instead of Ajax, while he played his whole career for Ajax and never played for Utrecht. So there was a real thing, bit childish. Some say bit childish. Some say, well, it's about passion and so on. But Sneijder took the liberty to request a talk with the F side, with the ultras, and he apologized for his behavior and what he said and so on. And the ultras accepted basically his apology and embraced him and said, well, welcome to Ajax again. You're allowed to come to the stadium, you're allowed to this, allowed to that. And yeah, it gives the impression that he might get a function somewhere, maybe in the technical staff in the coaching staff of Ajax, for Stein. How do you feel about this, Luke? This
I
whole
think it's a
saga.
I think it's a PR stunt, to be honest. I think he's been told to say that by maybe his agent so he can get a position in the club, because he spends the whole time with his own opinion. He's been so opinionated all the time when he's on TV being a pundit, and then suddenly you
Yeah.
change because you won the job.
You think this is all
Yeah,
this is
I
all
d-
acting
he
and
can
a
say
PR?
it. I don't think he means it.
Yeah.
Because why would you not apologize ages ago if you really felt bad about it or you wanted it to change? Why now when you suddenly you're linked with the job? I think it's his agent telling him or someone told him to say it. So
Okay. What do you think about that, Ziggy? You agree with him, or do you have a different view?
Yeah, I think Sneijder is still like he used to be a great Ajax player. Indeed, all the good old videos of Sneijder when he was in the car going past Amsterdam, singing a stupid song. I mean, everyone does stupid things in their life. I mean, everyone done some stuff in their life. He apologized now. Maybe indeed he does want the job, but I do think that Sneijder is one of those people. If you have them in your staff, negotiation wise, he have big contacts in Spain, Italy. He knows big players. So when Sneijder comes to the table together with somebody else like Mislintat, like Sven, I think he could have some influence of a player coming or not coming to us. Because if I'm honest, I see him more of a asset in our staff than, for example, Bakati, who I think, for me, Bakati, when he came to the club, I was thinking, why Bakati? You know, I was quite surprised about this. So Sneijder, for me, he's welcome as long as he doesn't. It's not going to be a leak to the Telegraph, or because he loves to be at the VE football table.
Yeah.
So that's the only worry I have. As long as he doesn't do that, for me, he's welcome.
Okay. And for you, Yadarenko, anything to add, or are you opposing.
Yeah, it was always going to be, as we in Holland say, it's always going to be a wax nose. Because it was a bit of banter of Sneijder, and he was going a little bit too far, but it wasn't that serious in my opinion. And it's just like Rafael said, just apologize, sit with them, apologize, and then go on. And that's actually what they did. So
Yeah, but you know about you know about the F side. I mean, not even F side.
Sure.
Ultras in general, they're quite passionate. You say such a small thing, and they make it so big.
Yeah, but when they're in face to face with a real player and a real Ajax player, uh, they hush down and they say what they want to say, but they're not like the ultras in Argentina or Italy sometimes, who go overboard and hunt their own players. That's what they don't do, because he's still from Ajax.
Okay.
And he might be from Ajax again, and he's actually a good guy to have, because he has the international experience you're looking for on the highest level, not only playing but also working with Mourinho, etc., etc. So yes, he's got loads of experience to add to the TS, which Bakati doesn't have, which Stein doesn't have, and which even Maduro doesn't have. Only Witsche maybe has it.
Yeah, indeed, the experience, but also the exposure. I mean, he has the internet exposure, which is, and the contacts, which is also very, very important. Okay. Before we move further with the comments on Sneijder, I just wanted to give you all guys an update from Dani Carafel. Right now, there's no deal between Dinamo Zagreb and Ajax about Sutalo. According to our sources, Sutalo can leave only if transfer fee is 25 million, between 25 and 30. Ajax bid was over 20. I think they're using
23,
this.
actually.
Yeah, 23 over, but indeed it's like 23. I think it's mainly because they want to use him still for qualifying rounds of the Champions League.
Yeah, but they will. We all know
high.
how this goes. If the gap is this big, either Ajax upped it to 25, and then
Yeah,
that's
it's probably in between 25
or they go down and say, okay, we accept.
Yeah.
But this is going to happen sooner
Yeah.
or later. This is going to happen.
No, that's true.
In my book.
Different opinions. Yeah, different opinions about Sneijder topic. You got Roy van Hensberg. Let him join Stein. Sneijder knows the game, was an amazing player, and knows how to work with young talents. Is basically what Yadrenko mentions. And then you got Jerry Persson. Sneijder, the halfling, does everything half, and when things get a bit hard, he bails. So he's quite a bit harsh on him as well. Let me see further. Nickname mentions Sneijder's too immature to be part of the coaching staff. He can be, but I don't know whether he's professional when he does his job. And probably this is for Ziggy. Isn't Bakati not hired for the standard situation part?
We're
I'm
not
sure.
seeing that.
I'm not
If you
entirely
look at the
sure what.
corners last game, we're not seeing that.
Yeah,
15
I mean,
corners, not one is dangerous.
Yes, I'm not entirely sure what Bakati is doing there. If I'm honest.
Yeah. Maybe it's good to discuss a bit more about him in upcoming talks. Spencer's Tsunami, little man, great player, and now great personality. A jewel for the club. Let's honor our legends. Well, a legend he is. So it's a nice ending of this topic. And then we got that topic about Alex Kroes. Alex Kroes has been nominated by the supervisory board to become the new CEO, replacing Edwin van der Sar. Funny thing is, indeed, that Pierre Eringa, the current chairman, already stated, like, we want to have the replacement available. We want to name him already somewhere at the beginning of August, which actually happened. What are your thoughts about Alex Kroes in general? Because he had a background. There were some discussions in the past where he applied, or they asked him for the technical director role, so the Sven role, and now he is basically getting a promotion without even working at Ajax, without even having worked at Ajax. Luke, do you have any additional thoughts when you saw Alex Kroes becoming our new CEO?
I'm just happy there is one now, or becoming one, because we should have been sorted out.
But do you think he fits?
He was at AZ and Go Ahead, right? I think Go Ahead.
Go ahead. He
Go
was
Ahead,
shareholder.
yes.
Shareholder.
And AZ, he was at AZ. Yeah, AZ are well run. I don't see, so he comes in and it doesn't really work out for him. You have to take these kind of risks on these kind of people sometimes. We can't be without a CEO for a long time. So
yeah. So for you, it's just okay. Not
just happy there is one.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him. I know little bits he did at AZ, but I mean AZ are a well-run club. I don't know a lot about him apart from that. Had a little bit look at his history and things like that. But I'm just glad there is a CEO in place soon now.
So let me redirect the question to Ziggy. Do you think he fits? Based on his background, do you think he fits, or do you think like, okay, I trust the supervisory board, it's okay, and I'm like Luke, I'm already happy that we got a CEO.
I'm happy it's him and not Hendricks or Van Geel. That's what I'm happy about.
Okay, so that's basically your summary, your conclusion.
Yes.
I don't care about I don't care about others. This one is a good option to have him as
for
CEO,
me, definitely. Better than the other, like Van Geel or Hendricks. I don't want to think about it to get them on board.
Yeah, and you, Jadrenko, is it something that you want to add?
I think it's sad they have a clause against Ajax, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous that they have that. Since they moved their whole academy almost on the border of Amsterdam, near Zaandam, and they do that and get loads of talents from the Amsterdam area, and now they're saying, "Oh, you cannot work at Ajax. Come on, grow up. It's a business. It's football. We all know how it works, and we're not competing at each other. We're in the same competition, but Ajax is at a total different level as AZ. Even PSV and Feyenoord are at a different level as AZ is, and AZ does well, but they're not they're more in the range of FC Twente or something like that.
Yes.
And they do well work, but grow up.
Yeah. So I mean, I have nothing to add. I mean, in my view, if I have something to say about him, he has the perfect background. Business-wise, he does his thing properly. He built up Go Ahead Eagles from scratch, bringing them to the Eredivisie, healthy as possible. He started his own agency. I think it was SEC. So he knows the football world. So it's not only managing as a director, but he also knows the football world in general, also with the transfers and so on. So he has also a football background, let alone he played in the youth of Ajax, that as well. But if you count all those aspects, I think it would be a very suitable CEO for us, and very happy about it, and also very happy with the appointment of Pier. He's quite straight to the point. Pier Eringa, our chairman. So yeah, love it. And
he also approached Rijkaard. Did you know that? Did you read that?
Yeah, but it was more. I didn't take that really serious. Sorry?
It was more ceremonial
fashion, but exactly.
Still, it are the right guys to get in the club and to get involved in the discussion around the club. I think.
Yeah, because they want to take over that Bayern Munich philosophy, whereby footballers take on the director roles up until the CEO. You got Rummenigge and so on, even Oliver Kahn, and that had a role. So it's a good thing. And let's see what he brings forward.
AZ already stated that they will, one way or another, they will come out of this. So there will be a solution on short term.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess.
So it's a matter
So
of time.
probably there will be some payment from
Mhm.
Ajax, and
Yeah.
then we're gonna move on.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, Dutch Power 18. Kroes is a big asset, has proven on all fronts, and has an Ajax heart. Totally agree with that. And um, also Jerry Persson, he played in the youth and did good with Go Ahead, and everyone coming from there to Ajax seems to do great. All from our Den Haag. Yeah, lovely to mention that as well, Jerry. Thanks for that, indeed. So there's a legacy from Go Ahead, which gives us great hope. And furthermore, I have a question. Our last topic, basically, which came up literally minutes before we started the podcast, and it's related to this, man. Hi guys, quick question. What's your opinion on Mohamed Daramy? Would you sell him off to Burnley, and for what amount? Because the latest news is that Burnley is really seriously interested in Daramy. Vincent Company, the current coach of Burnley, is his said that Daramy would be his priority target, meaning the serious transfer talk. Now that this is current news, is it something that you would? Are you happy with this, Ziggy?
Yes, last weekend when I was watching Augsburg against Ajax and I seen Berghuis pass that ball to Daramy, the first thing what came up in my mind was, please sell this guy. So if they want to pay 10 or 15 million for him, 10 million will be a great buy. Just let him go as soon as possible. I will not shed a tear for it, really.
I'm not sure whether I have to go through all you guys because I think you all got the same opinion.
Awful,
Although, do you have
awful.
something? Do you want to add something with what Ziggy mentioned?
Yeah, awful. Every time he touched the ball, he looked like he always wanted to run with it, but then looked like Bambi. He looked like a giraffe trying to
Yes.
run. He looked like he was gonna fall over every single time,
Bambi on ice.
right? And he looked like he was ice skating. It was everything wrong with it. Every time he run, he was to kick it five yards and then take small little steps. Like it didn't work. It looked
Yeah.
awful. And he hasn't got a footballing brain. He didn't look like he knew what he wanted to do apart from run. So it was like worse than Bergwijn, and I don't know how that's possible. So to be honest.
Well, it is apparently. What about you, Jadrenko?
Yeah, I got nothing to add.
The funny thing is, maybe I'm right or wrong, but Daramy is the typical player that doesn't do well at Ajax, but if he goes to another club, he will play.
In Denmark. In Denmark, very, very good at Copenhagen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but even
very good.
indeed, and even if he goes to Burnley, I think he will do quite well. And then moving up to a better club. Look at Botman. How that went. He went to Lille and then made that great step. Look at Schuurs, who will probably make that great transfer, went to Torino, and now Newcastle is very interested in him. So maybe you need to take one step back, or maybe even two steps back, to
I
make
mean,
that big step ahead.
Sabi, okay, so you're going from Daramy, who's now playing Ajax preseason, who like to keep the ball, play football historically, technical players, to go then to Burnley, who are under Vincent Company, who played under Pep, who wants to play that kind of football in the Premier League.
Mhm.
It's like the same thing, but 10 times even
Hey,
harder.
it's
He's
just
got to be
Working.
technical on the ball and have a brain, but I don't know what Company sees, but 15 million, go.
I am
Yes.
just like Juan would say, I'm just the host, eh? Just
Devil's
funny,
advocate,
funny things to say.
yeah.
I'm just the host. No, okay, man. Let me go to the comments. Maybe I see something interesting about Daramy because there's always opinions. Yeah, this makes sense. From Jofra Hensberger, use Daramy money to get our new guys. Dutch Power. Daramy didn't even deliver in the KKD. That's the Keukenkampioen division. It's like the championship of the Netherlands in terms of Premier League football. How would he ever add something to the Premier League? Fair
No.
enough. Fair enough. I mean, he probably won't. But I mean, I have doubts. I'm more of a positive guy. So and we often jinx our own players when they leave, when they don't do well, and then the other clubs they
Add a
skyrocket.
buyback
So,
clause. We'll add a buyback clause. Buy him back for €5 million. Fantastic.
yeah, maybe we should
If,
do
he,
that. Like,
if he's
like
good,
a
he's
sell
good.
on and a buyback clause. Yeah, that would be a
53
good one.
million buyback clause.
Yeah. Yeah, Yvonne Leyen is here in Amsterdam. The other day he's coming back.
How
Yeah,
is he
coming
going to
back-
get there?
coming
He
back
hasn't
to
got
his
a
home in
car.
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
I don't think he will come back to.
He has to buy a new
Uh,
car first. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. That's one thing indeed. Probably got more of them, but indeed. Let me see if there are. Of course, my boy Ajax is in. My boy Sabi's talking Senskos in Kroes. I think we all agree upon that about Kroes. Not saying about me, but it is what
Right.
it is. I think we're a bit done with the comments. So hey, it's a long stretch, an hour 20 minutes. Sorry for that for the guys who were waiting till the end, but I hope you had fun. I hope you learned a little bit. I hope you gave your comments as well. And thank you, panels. Thank you, Luke and Yadarenko for coming over again, and Ziggy. I hope you liked it as well, just like we
I
liked
liked
it.
it. Thank you very
Okay, man.
much.
Good
Well
to hear, man. And hopefully till next time. For all viewers, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And drop those likes as well. And see you guys next week, man. Take care.
Take care.
Take care.